the creativity of putting together a project that has to do with rock, right? So you have somebody like, let's say, I don't fucking know who's popular, like somebody like Panic at the Disco. They're kind of more on the software, but more like, all right, Metallica, right? Legendary band, okay? They don't have a DJ who operates their music and plays their vocals in the background. They don't have none of that shit. Everything that they're doing is strictly guitar, vocals, bass, drums, another guitar, maybe piano, maybe. Fucking everything is so created on the stage itself. Because you notice, if you ever heard a rock song and then you looked them up on YouTube and seen that they played like different riffs or whatever the case may be, it's because they're having complete fun. It's not a serious deal to them, but they know how to jam out. Because the important part of the band is usually the drummer and the bass, which is very underrated. So I just want to make sure that you, as a human being, just appreciate the complex kind of rock music. Because rock is very complex. I feel like hip-hop is a lot more simple than rock music. So the simplicity of hip-hop doesn't count to me. I feel like I can put on a beat any day, just hire somebody to be my DJ, and I perform and fucking make my money that way. However, with rock, it's very hard to play a fucking guitar. I mean, I've been playing the guitar, since 18, damn near 10 years ago. And like, hearing people talking about rock music is dead, I take offense to that. And so that's why I want this segment to be about that kind of shit, because I want people to really realize, one, the people I grew up listening to, and two, why it's important to at least embrace this shit. Because they call it devil's music. Listen, all music is by the devil, right? Let's just be completely real. I mean, every song that you hear comes completely from the darkest core of that person's soul. Whether it's about drugs, whether it's about fucking sex, whether it's about guns, whatever the case may be, it's always a dark spot that people have to vent out from. That's why you have poetry. That's why you have flowetry. You never hear nobody talking about good shit in flowetry. It's always about emotions or relationships. So with rock, I get that, because when I hear the lyrics aren't complex. It's simple. It's fucking alphabetical. That's how organized it is, right? So I'm gonna tell you, because I've done this in the previous podcast episodes, but I'm gonna let you know my favorite bands and why I like them. And I'm only doing that because I want to put this on YouTube, to be honest. But so you have somebody like I grew up listening to the Blink-182s, the Sum 41s. I'm not that kind of guy that's like, oh yeah, I listen to Soundgarden, I listen to Metallica, I listen to Nirvana. Yeah, I listened to them, but I wasn't 100% fan. Maybe Nirvana, because I loved Kurt Cobain as a writer. But I was never like a solid fan like I am with the early 2000s rock stars, because that was pop punk rock, So you have people like, obviously, Panic at the Disco, Blink, Sum 41, even fucking Metallica when they came out at that time, Kid Rock, fucking Evanescence, Korn, Green Day, it's so much talent that's fucking out there that I enjoyed. And I want to take you on a trip real quick. So Sum 41, the reason I like them, all right, grew up listening to them. I remember they came out with Fat Lip. God damn it. Sorry about that, people. People keep on calling me, sending me nudes, all that kind of shit. No, I'm just playing. Fuck. I honestly forgot what I was talking about, and I don't want to go back to the recordings. So let's just move on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Rock music. So Sum 41. I started growing up listening to them. And an amazing band. And I fucking love their art. See, me as an artist, I'm very passionate about a person's arc, whether it's on a TV show, whether it's on a song, whether it's on records, whatever the case may be. I'm so influenced by it to where it's just like I question the shit. Like if I were to sit down and have a conversation with Derek Whibley, who's the vocalist of Sum 41, like I would time travel with him, take me back to this, that, and that, carousel in a way. So when I listen to Sum 41, one, I'm gonna always be a big fan. As a rock fan, I can never get tired of really anything that they put out. If I'm like if I'm a fan of rock, I'm a fan. I can listen to a song over and over again and not get sick of it, you know? When I hear Sum 41, it started off with a naive group of kids who came out of Canada, who did some shit, and, you know, they fucking had a good time. And then as time went on, they realized how much was going on in the world. So you listen to All Killer, No Filler, if you're a rock fan, and if you're a Sum 41 fan. You listen to All Killer, No Filler, and then you listen to fucking the next album after that, which is Does This Look Infected? You know, and that's kind of when they slowly transitioned into, you know, going from this kid poppy kind of fucking, you know, mild rapping and sagging the pants and all that kind of shit, to maturing in a way that's like still kiddish, but at the same time you could just tell they're developing into something great. And then you have Chuck, that album, which is a dark album, and that came strictly from the inspiration that they had when they were in, I want to say, where the fuck were they? They were somewhere during a mad protest where shots were fired, and then this guy named Chuck was the one that saved them from the crossfire. And so that album was dedicated to them. But hearing that, I heard that energy, I heard that aggression, I heard that there's no peace, there's no solutions, like we're literally all in hell. You know, they left Canada and fucking went around the world and seen how fucked up the world is, that they can talk about it. And that gave great content. Like, I feel like Chuck was probably one of their best albums. It was heavy. You know, if you have thick skin and if you could take that kind of music, that's for you. But I felt like with that album, that was based off of their experience in that situation. I want to say they were like in Venezuela or some shit like that. And then Chuck protected them, and that was basically about them. So that was honestly a fucking amazing album, you know? So hearing Chuck and then them transitioning from Chuck to losing a member of the band, and then they had to drop their next album, which was Underclass Hero, I believe so, right? Doesn't Look Infected, Chuck, Underclass Hero, because 2004, and then Underclass Hero came in 2007. So it was only 3 members of the band, and a fourth guy came in as the secondary guitarist, and he killed it. Shout out to Tom. So I think that Underclass Hero was after Derek left, or after the Dave left the band, after Derek divorced Avril Lavigne. Like, he was feeling it. And the thing with musicians, bro, is that, like, when a musician feels it, they feel it. And I was being a weirdo looking up Derek Whibley's sign, and he's an Aries. And I just know how Aries are. It's like, they can be like, fuck you for now, especially if you're like that close to them. But in the future, like, that shit takes a toll on them. You know, they start, like, they love really hard. They probably love harder than Leos, to be honest, because I'm a Leo. So seeing that, I just kind of, being a weirdo, I just kind of had my own perception of what was going on. And I think that all took a toll on him, and it was going downhill from there. So he was basically saying, like, with Speak of the Devil on that album, on the Underclass Hero album, where he was talking about Speak of the Devil, which was about liquor and how he consumes it, and how it's like, it brings out the fucking worst in him. And then you have the song called Best of Me, where he's apologizing to, whoever he hurt. And then you have March of the Dogs, where it's about America. So it's still that corrupt, fucking liberal state of mind, kind of like Rage Against the Machine kind of style. However, it's Derek, man, and Derek is a phenomenal writer. It's cheesy pop to some people, but to me, it fucking influenced me. I swear to God, it did. Like, I've never been so influenced by a band until I listened to Sum 41. Like, I feel like, because during that time, I was, like, when I listened to that shit, I was a lifeguard at Hurricane Harbor for the summer. Like, I was just, just living my life. But I noticed the beauty in that record. And I think that the beauty in that was just showing how, even though, they lost a band member, even though they, the lead singer went through a breakup, they always fucking stayed solid. And they always stayed that they kind of brought back that All Killer No Filler, their first album or the second album kind of vibe, but with a little bit of that modern 2007 kind of style. Because they kind of saw, I'm pretty sure they kind of saw where rock music was heading towards. And they kind of, wanted to keep it the core fan base. And a lot of people didn't like that record because of it. But my thing is this, open your fucking mind up to new shit. Sum 41 is not going to always... The way I see Derek, how he works, the mastermind that he is, he likes to transition. He likes to try out different shit. Heavy, light, fucking poppy, all that kind of shit. He likes to do all that kind of shit, and he's not afraid to take those chances. And that's why I respect him as a musician. So when I heard that album, and all of them were pretty much my favorite songs. I mean, they had Confusion and Frustration in Modern Times, which is, the hook is, confusion's all I see, frustration surrounds me. And it's just like, it's fucking relatable today. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's confused. Everybody's frustrated for no fucking reason. And that's what he puts in. And that's why it makes him poetic. And that's why it makes him... That's why I think he really took a downward spiral. If you guys ever heard about his drinking stage. Because it's like fucking, I'm trying to tell you that this world is fucked up, but you guys are not listening. All you guys are listening to is the music. And that's the thing, too, that I want a lot of people to realize. Is like, hear these artists cry. You know what I'm saying? Hear these motherfuckers... When XXX Tentacion is talking about suicide, listen to the fucking lyrics. That's what Rap Genius is for, to check out the lyrics and actually study those, so you can have some kind of empathy for these people. You know what I mean? And that's what I think that record stated, that Sum 41 record stated, was like, all this bullshit is going on around me, but fucking I gotta stay strong, but it's so hard, so I'm drinking, so I'm fucking, counting my last blessings, I'm fucking, all this kind of shit. It's just like, dog, fans just need to pay attention. But I don't know, because you're either a fan or you're an artist, so as an artist I can relate, and all I can do is just share the word and spread it. But as a fan, fans just love the beat. You know what I'm saying? They just love the non-stop adrenaline. They just want to feel something. So there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. But I think that's what led him off the edge, which he dropped after that, Screaming Bloody Murder. Now, let me tell you this, all right? I remember Joe Budden said this on his podcast. He said he likes artists who do drugs or whatever the case may be. That's what makes the record good. I can't agree with that. I don't want you to consume shit that's going to kill you. But if it makes you better, if it makes me listen, I'm going to listen. I can't control your substance abuse or whatever the case may be. When I heard Screaming Bloody Murder, I swear to God, that is by far their best album yet. Even compared to their newest shit that they just released. And the reason I say that is because that's how we know we got the real, one, Derek Whibley, and two, Sum 41. Because we got everything that they've done all in one, and it sounded so fucking different. If I can come up with like a movie of what this will be like, it'll be like fucking Bloody Mary. When you go into the fucking, when you close the door and it's dark and you're screaming Bloody Mary 10 times until it actually appears. That's what this album reminded me of. And it's so beautiful, so poetic, so fucking limitless. So it just had so much life into it. But he was going through that phase. I mean, if you see the documentary on how they created it, they were drinking Jack Daniels like a motherfucker, and they were living in the hills and doing some reckless shit. And I felt that shit in that record. You know what I mean? And that's what was the beauty of it, was the fact that you could just feel it, and it's just yours. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't think that they embraced it at that moment, but I think Derek was just so off edge that he just said, fuck it. I'm sick of it all. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want for the fans. If they love it, cool. If not, fuck you. And that was the mentality that he had in that album, which to me was by far their best, because they didn't think too hard about it. They just did it. Got drunk every night, fucking recorded during the day. And it just showed. And even like the whole handcraft shit, like they're beating pots and pans, and like if you hear it like on the Dark Road Out of Hell, those 3 songs, you could just hear that shit. It's like you can hear pots and pans and fucking all sorts of different sounding instruments or beats or whatever that just stuck with them. They just didn't give a fuck. And that's what I loved about that album. That was the beauty of it. It was a Picasso painting. You know what I mean? It was just a motherfucker who just dipped his, paintbrush inside of some paint and just fucking, waved it around and just spread it everywhere on the piece of paper. That's what I got out of it. And it was so beautiful, so adjusted, so dark and dirty and fucking, oh man, you get a feeling of like the way I saw it literally was like me driving a fucking old school Camaro and in the fucking desert with rusty ass Wrangler jeans and fucking, you know, boots and fucking glasses and just, you know, just living like a rock star life, like in a dirty ass car. Not a dirty like in the inside, but it's like, you know, one of those fucking dusty ass cars, and you're just fucking driving around in the desert, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I just got that kind of vibe from it, just that whole like aloneness, and just, you know, I just want to be solo, and I'm just that badass that's just like kind of like, all right, like a Fonzie, like a dude who wears a leather jacket and fucking walks around all badass. Nobody wants to talk to him. He doesn't want to talk to nobody, like that kind of vibe. And I fucked with it because I related to it. So when he dropped songs like Crash, when he dropped songs like Back Where I Belong, like Back Where I Belong was a song where I kind of knew he was trying to redeem himself. He just didn't know how. Because in the hook, it was, I'm not giving up, I won't let go, because I'm here till I die. And this time I had enough, I'm on my own, but I'm back where I belong. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, pay attention to that shit, people. That's all I'm going to say, man. Because